Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka Jay Phoenix. This is going to be your astrology forecast for Friday, August 11th of 2023. All right, guys. Trust that you guys are having a wonderful week so far. A wonderful Friday. And yeah, getting ready for this weekend, getting ready for this Kazemi that's happening with Venus and the Sun as they get closer and closer and closer to each other. It's definitely going to be definitely going to be an interesting weekend. So let's go ahead and hop into the transits for today, shall we? So now, you remember the whole story I was talking about yesterday with Mercury trying to catch up to Mars, right? Trying to deliver the message that Venus wants to give him, and how I said that, of course, Mercury's not going to catch up to him. Well, it's interesting. We do have Mars here at 19 degrees of Virgo, which, of course, is quincunx Chiron at 19 degrees as well. And I did even talk about a little bit about Vesta yesterday, too. Now, look at this, guys. I just want to show you guys this before we go too much more forward. Well, actually, no. First, let me just show you kind of day by day, because this is about as close as Mercury's going to get to Mars. It's going to be about 4 degrees or so. You can see just 21, 42, 18, 16, 22, 18, 22, 19, 23, 20, 24, 20, 24, 21. The moon's going to come over these energies. 25, 21, 26. Oh, wait, what's that? It's starting to get its separation now. It's starting to separate now. Yep. And bam, right? So we're about as close as we're going to get, probably I would say for the next, let's see. Yeah, I would say for about the next, about the next week or so. This is about as close as we're going to get Mercury getting to Mars, right? This is like a Paul Revere type shit, but Paul Revere doesn't quite make it all the way to, it's kind of like a Paul Revere type stuff, where Paul Revere is kind of like, galloping through town saying that the British are coming. And then it's just sort of one of those things. It's like, well, are you going to actually take action here? And since it doesn't quite conjunct, first of all, there's just like, well, is Paul Revere telling the truth? There's like a doubt here. It was like, oh, I don't know if he's telling the truth. And do you even hear him? Can you even hear what Paul Revere is saying, right? So there's going to be this element here where it's like, yeah, Mercury is going to be calling out to Mars, kind of following Mars, and Mercury's always going to be just a little bit behind, just a few steps behind. And then eventually it's going to get to the point where Mars is just moving forward even faster. And what's not really moving faster is that Mercury is actually having to go back. That's the thing about this. Now, remember how I said that 19-degree aspect was happening as far as what's going on right now, right? Now, check this out. I was looking at this and I was astonished by this. We're going to go all the way forward, right? We're going to move this thing all the way forward to, let's see, where is it? It's going to be, oh yeah, because I want to get to where essentially Mercury and Mars meet up, which they finally do in Scorpio. So all right, bam, October 29th. We're going to have Mercury and Mars finally meet up. We had 11 degrees of Scorpio. Oh, wait a minute. What's that? Is that Venus actually at 19 degrees, triggering this same energy that Mars was at when it was quincunx Chiron? Oh, is that an opposition to Jupiter now? I just thought that was crazy, and I wanted to share it with you guys. That the day that that Mercury finally catches up to Mars, is and Mercury's just gonna be like, And Mars is going to be looking at Mercury like, you good, bro? I just came to deliver Venus is feeling. And by this time, Venus is out of its retrograde. It's out of shadow. It's going to be in Virgo, right? It's going to be, it's going to be, the message almost will just, it almost will be much different. That's the funny thing about it. And Mercury really won't get an updated message from Venus until it, I would say it sextiles, but it's going to move past Mars. So it's almost going to be like Mercury's going to give Mars a sort of like a message that may be somewhat outdated. And then by the time that it comes to the sextile to Venus, Venus will have like more of an Venus will have more of an update for Mercury. And Mercury's like, yeah, I mean, I just told him what you wanted me to tell him. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I know things are different now. I know you're in Virgo now. So I know you're like really super particular about everything. You don't really like being in Virgo, you know, because you'd rather be exalted in Pisces. So it's like, you know, yeah, it's interesting. Anyways, I just wanted to share that little side note. I think it's really interesting. So once again, I'm wanting to show you guys the layering aspect of astrology. So yeah, 19 degrees Mars in Virgo, King conjuncting a 19-degree Chiron in Aries is going to feel awkward as hell. It's going to feel awkward as hell because it's going to make you feel like you have to act. You want to like, I gotta almost act like I have to have all these details figured out, and I have to act a certain way, right? This Chiron element, this wounded healing aspect, your quirk, if you will. I like to think of it as a quirk, you know, like from My Hero Academia, is really going to be having you want to unlock great new potential. However, like I said, this Mars in Virgo, especially that it reduces down to a 1, it definitely is asking us to really get more into our heart space, obviously. But it is in the decan that is ruled by Saturn. So it's definitely a very regimented Mars in Virgo, where it wants to have all of the details. It wants to have a sense of order, right? You can't just go acting and doing things willy-nilly. There has to be some reasoning, some purpose behind things. But Saturn is here at 5 degrees of Pisces. And it actually will go back to 4 degrees of Pisces. And it's been at 5 degrees for the better part of like, it's been at 5 degrees for, let's see what it went. Yeah. So pretty much, what was it? Yeah, July 26th. Yeah, July 26th. And it's August 11th. You know, so it's been at this degree for the better part of quite a while, about 3 weeks or so. And now it moves to 4 degrees of Pisces. So you're going to definitely kind of feel that shift, where it's going to shift from a more mercurial kind of Neptune in, or Saturn in Pisces, if you will, a little more mercurial, where we're kind of thinking a lot. We may be even be overthinking, to a more, well, oh shit, like where do I actually belong? You know, where do I belong in this world? You know, what do I belong doing? Like, what the spiritual path that I'm walking? Like, do I belong to this path that I'm walking? So too, that's the thing about this. Of course, by that time, Mars does come off that 19 degrees and will be at 20 degrees. So it's going to enter that next decan ruled by Venus, right? Now, of course, oh wait, I am like way ahead. Hold on. Let me go back another day. Thank you. I was like, something was off. I could tell. Anyways, but Saturn will still come off this 5th degree. So we're going to feel that energy, right? Now, we also have the moon here in Gemini. That's going to make a square over to Neptune. This is going to be happening at the same time as it's trining the South Node and sextiling the North Node. But this square with Neptune is going to be the one that wins. It's not going to necessarily feel the easiest. Now, of course, we do have Juno here making a nice little trine over to Neptune, but that's squaring the South Node. and squaring the North Node, right? This is definitely going to be a test of your commitments. This is going to be a test on whether or not you feel like you should be married to certain situations in your life. You know what I'm saying? So that moon in Gemini is definitely going to already have people thinking a lot, maybe even overthinking. A square to Neptune is definitely the kind of energy where it's like if you feel like your thoughts are kind of running and stuff like that, that you may try and use anything to try and, you know, feel better, to try and escape these thoughts. This is definitely a day where the potential is high to try and escape thoughts, especially considering the fact that this is in the decan ruled by Uranus. So this definitely could be thoughts that just come out of nowhere. Not to mention 2 plus 7, 9. 9 is the energy of Mars. So you can almost convince yourself that you have to take some sort of action, any kind of action, just to feel better. And more, this is really about just like, first of all, so many of these energies are retrograde now. We got Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Venus, Mercury's about to come retrograde, Uranus is about to come retrograde. We are in retrograde city. Like, this is a time where it's like trying to figure everything out when all these planets are offline and the energies are turned more inward. It's not a time where it's like, we have to figure everything out right now, because we don't. It's not a time where it's like, just because you have a weird and random thought doesn't mean that you have to act on it. It's not an indication really of anything besides that you just picked up on that signal. You know what I'm saying? You just picked up on that signal. You don't have to pay as close and as much attention to these signals. You know what I'm saying? So you want definitely, and this is going to be like the first part of the day. Now, this was towards the end of the day, where people generally are going out and doing things. That'd be one thing. But here's the funny thing about it. The moon, of course, is going to king-cause Pluto. That's a bit of an awkward energy, right? And then, of course, it's going to go into Cancer. So it will be at home at the very least, which is nice. Juno's here, which is about to oppose Pluto. So it's definitely going to get to a point, especially when that moon comes home. This is the kind of energy. This is the kind of energy where someone's just sitting at the bar, and it's just like you can tell that it's just like they are just going through. They're just sitting at the bar, and they're just like, keep them coming, keep them coming. And what's weird about it too is that all of us are in a position to where, yes, we definitely can feel that there is massive transformation that's happening. We can feel that, like, we don't have all the answers. We can feel that, like, some of us can be feeling like we're kind of at the end of our rope. We have a lot of edgy energy, 28 degrees, 27 degrees, 22 degrees, right? We have a lot of energy that's moving towards the edge. We had a Venus at retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo. Mars is getting to that last decade. There's a lot of edgy energy. And when there's edgy energy like this, that is complex, that can be confusing, that can be awkward, that's also asking us to have the strength and to look within, because this is still a sun in Leo, right? It's at 19 degrees, which is a very powerful degree for it to be at, where we're being asked to look within and have the courage and the bravery to still move forward despite all of the weird stuff that's going on. It's not a time to freak out. This is not a time to go and sulk at the bar like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe going with some friends and everything like that. Maybe, like, especially with the moon in Gemini. Moon in Gemini would prefer things to be a little bit on the lighter side. The only reason why this moon in Gemini really wasn't that light is because of all the crazy aspects it's making, especially with like the squares, Saturn and Neptune, right? So it'd be, and of course you have the squares to Mercury and Mars. This moon in Gemini would have preferred to be a lot lighter. But here's the thing about this. This is definitely a time where it's like, we got to be able to look at our life and kind of almost make fun of it anyways, and try and see the comedy in things. That may be a little bit difficult. But if we can make light of things and see the comedy in things, kind of laugh things off, it's going to allow us to get through these moments a lot easier. This is definitely a day that's reminding us to like, yes, obviously we're taking something serious. You know what I'm saying? We should be serious about, our passion, our creativity, our joy and stuff. And things aren't going to always just go exactly the way that we want. Things aren't going to always have the timing that we want. Trust me, the sense of timing right now is being very shaken up. Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces retrograde. There's like no sense of timing right now. Like, it's, you have to just trust the divine timing of it. So do your best to kind of just keep it light. You know what I mean? When that moon goes into Cancer, I mean, at least it's going to be at home and it's going to start to feel good and stuff. It's not going to make any aspects immediately, but at least, it'll start coming into the trine with Saturn, and we're going to feel that over the weekend. But we do have this Sun and Venus that's still coming together in Leo, which is going to be a super powerful moment. A super powerful moment. It's almost going to feel like a supernova of energy because the Sun is blasting away all of these impurities that Venus has picked up, so you can get to like the pure essence of Venus. And then Venus still has to finish its retrograde. So it's going to offer everyone a brand new perspective when it comes to how they receive their own creativity, how do they receive their passion and their love, and how they express it to the world. So we got a few days. Got a few days. I mean, that Cassini's going to happen, I think it's on Sunday. Yeah, it's going to happen on Sunday. So, I mean, we got a little bit of time, And what's cool about this, too, is that when this happens, the moon is going to be on Juno. Now, granted, it is going to be opposed Pluto, right? But remember, we've already dealt with the sun opposed Pluto. We can deal with the moon opposed Pluto, right? We dealt with the sun opposed Pluto with like a major aspect as far as like Venus retrograding. Now that the sun will be on Venus on this Sunday and the moon's going to oppose it, we can deal with that. We can deal with that. It may feel a little difficult, but that feeling will pass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Friday is definitely going to be a day where, we can definitely get in our head and stuff, but try and find the humor in things. Try to find the comedy in things. Try to laugh things off. And if you can't, watch some stand-up comedy. Watch something really funny. Kind of, or here's another good thing. If you are like really like in your head a lot and stuff like that, and it's starting to make you nervous and stuff like that, watch something in a different language. It'll snap you kind of out of that state because it kind of, when you watch something in a different language, it almost does something to where it just puts you on a different wavelength, if you will. And it's like that's what I'll do sometimes. I'll watch like anime and just have like, the subs, of course, on, and it definitely does something different because your mind has to kind of like alter the way that it's kind of like going, and it kind of just takes you out of that anxious cloud or nervous sphere and puts you somewhere else. So yeah, I think that'll be very positive. So let's get into the cards, shall we? Let me actually grab my cards from my bag. All right, let's see what we got for the cards today. Those are the two cards that wanted to come out, right? So we have the King of Wands and the Page of Wands. The King of Wands and the Page of Wands. Yeah, I think we're all feeling more like a page right now. We're feeling more like a page, sort of like an apprentice. And now we're trying to figure out, how do we become the King of Wands? How do we become that master manifester? How do we trust our hearts wholeheartedly so we can naturally be creative and take that passion and move forward and really make a difference in the world. This is about, and this is an evolution, if you will. It's like Charmander wants to desperately become a Charizard, but they're missing the step of being a Charmeleon. That awkward teenage phase. It's almost like humanity wants to skip the awkward teenage phase. And honestly, I think that's kind of what's going on. I think we are, in many ways, kind of graduating from elementary school and going to middle school. You know what I'm saying? Or we're going from middle school to high school. And if you thought things were dramatic now, I mean, things are going to get more dramatic and stuff. But that's kind of how it feels like. It feels like, in many ways, overall, humanity is growing up, and we're going through this awkward teenage phase, and we're trying to avoid it. We're trying to avoid the pimples. We're trying to avoid like our voices changing. We're trying to avoid the bodily changes. And that resistance to these changes, it's what's causing a lot of strife. We have to accept where we are. Of course, shoot for something. Of course, Charmander doesn't want to just stop at Charmeleon, wants to become Charizard and then Charizard X or Charizard Y or whatever like that, right? But this is about embracing where we are, realizing that we have all of the tools, we have the DNA to get to Charizard, right? Because all Charmander has to do is keep fighting other Pokemon and increase its level, but it doesn't really need anything else. It has the DNA to get there, right? Now, it may need the right trainer. It may need the right guide, the right people around it to get to that Charizard, and that might determine how fast it gets to the Charizard as well, or what kind of Charizard, I guess, it becomes as far as like that stat distribution and shit like that. So, yes, the people around us are important for our evolution, but you still have all of the information, the tools, the DNA, the essence to get to that higher self and to really embody that higher self. You technically don't need anyone else, technically, but we are social creatures, and in many ways, we do need each other. So, but you have it all within you right now. You don't have to go out. You don't need to do anything particular, right? All you have to do is keep leveling up and keep just putting one step in front of the other. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it takes, you know? Yes, some Pokemon need actual stones to evolve and shit like that. But for the purposes of this video, like I said, I'm talking about Pokemon that doesn't need anything to evolve, just to level up. In many ways, that's what's happening here. But we can't skip that middle step. We can't skip that middle step. We can't just skip right to being the king. But we do have the card of empowerment. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck. The frequency of empowerment supports our ability to show fully and completely, uniting us with others in the deep trust that we are all connected to the same source. And I just say, we're kind of in like this weird teenage phase. You know what I'm saying? And how we are all connected in many ways. So imagine if everyone brings like their power together, if everyone can bring that exalted aspect of themselves together, what we would be capable of and the amazing legendary things that we can do. So it's like you have to trust. That's what the card said. It's like there has to be this deep trust that, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to really, I'm going to go on this spiritual path. I'm going to commit myself to this path. Even though there are going to be aspects of the path that feel lonely, we have to trust that we are all connected. And you have to trust that you will meet the right people at the right time and that you will find your tribe and stuff. And as we start to web out and connect to these other individuals, even the people that you might have left behind, and it could be loved ones. It probably will be a lot of loved ones and friends that you leave behind on this journey, but you have to trust in the divine timing of the universe. You have to trust that we are all in this together and that we all will come up. Some of you guys are the ones that are meant to really push the envelope and raise the vibration of this place and bring those other people up too. Just simply by you being you and you being in your power and you being in your truth is what's going to help a lot of these other people also see the truth and also see that they too can embody that spirit, that they too already embody it. They just turn a blind eye to it and they forget about it. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you would like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. As always, y'all take care, stay blessed, and I will see you guys for the weekend astrology forecast report. Peace.